I adore my 64, my Commodore 64.
Hello and welcome to a Let's Type episode from the Commodore Appreciation Society. Back in the early 80s, when mainstream computing was really just starting to take off, we didn't have the internet. So getting information about how to use our machines, how to program them, what new games were coming out, that was done primarily through magazines. And in North America, the biggest magazine was Compute. Every month's issue would come packed with industry updates, technical information, and gaming news. But perhaps most memorably were the set of typable programs that came in each issue as well. So today we're going to go back in time to May 1983, issue 36 of Compute, and we're going to type in a program for the game Checkers. Now, back when I was a kid, Compute magazine meant having the full paper copy in front of you. Those days are long gone. I'm sure there are tons of Compute magazines out there. I don't have any anymore. I'm sure mine got thrown out in, a spring cleaning in the 90s or something like that. But fortunately, the folks at the Internet Archive have the entire collection of Compute magazine fully available, and that's what we'll be using. So I'm browsing through the May 83 issue of Compute now. We're at the table of contents, and you can see the kind of content that's there. Lots of games that you can type in for the Commodore 64, technical information, ads, letters to the editor. Looking through this issue is like digging up a time capsule of what was going on in the computer market in 1983. And you can see the popular games at the time, computer systems like the Atari 1200 XL, peripherals. And here's an ad for CompuServe, an online service that you could use if you had a modem, which many people didn't. Now as we go through, here's a game, Crosswords. I would have liked to have typed in Crosswords, but there wasn't a version available for the 64. And here we go, Checkers for the Commodore 64. This is the program we'll be typing in today. And it's about a page and a half, I guess, of code that needs to be entered. Back in the day, this meant propping up the magazine on my desk somewhere and going line by line and trying to make sure I didn't make any mistakes. Nowadays, I don't need to do that. I can have the program displayed in the background, and I can have my emulator in the foreground, and I'm able to keep things organized that way. So I'm just getting it set up now. The other nice thing is I get to zoom in the text a little bit. Then I'll move Vice over. Vice is the emulator that I use. All right, and here we go. Now it's funny, and I admit that it looks like this is something that would be mind-numbingly boring, and I'm sure people have wondered why on earth I would spend my personal time doing this. The fact is, I find it relaxing. I found it relaxing back then. But more than that, it taught me a ton about how the Commodore 64 worked. It taught me how to program in BASIC. What's really cool about typing in these programs is when you're done and you press run for the first time, it's probably not going to run. There's going to be some problems along the way, something I mistyped, and that needs to be fixed. So it teaches you how to debug. It teaches you how to look for problems in code. And just in general, it teaches you how to code. I credit Compute magazine for a good part of the early learning I have in computer programming. Let's speed this up. No one needs to watch the whole program get typed in. And we'll fast forward a little bit to the end where we can get to play the game itself. So here we are. It's about an hour later. The code has been all typed in. I did a debugging pass and was able to wipe out a couple transcription errors that I entered. And I saved it to disk. And when we look at it on disk, we can see that it takes up 22 blocks. Now a block is 256 bytes, and when you convert that over to kilobytes, it's just under about 6K. So it's a pretty small program. It only takes a few moments for my trusty 1541, my emulated 1541 to load. And we can take a look at all of the code. And there we go. That's the entire program. That is checkers right there. Let's run it. So I'll enter my name. And sure, let's look at the instructions. The instructions basically tell you to move the cursor keys to select your piece and to press return again when you've found where you want that piece to go. And that's kind of it. There's a couple nuances, but I mean, it's checkers. It's simple. So I'm going to choose red. So, and here's the game board. It's a nice looking game board. Those are the pieces. I'm at the bottom. The computer is at the top in black. When you turn your piece into a king, it fills the piece in. So it's either a solid circle or a solid square. And playing the computer is fairly challenging. It comprehensively looks ahead one turn. So it's not really tournament grade. It's not looking at 4 turns ahead or 3 turns ahead or anything like that. So it's not the toughest thing in the world to beat the computer, that's for sure. But if you're not paying attention, it will get you. I've sped things up here. The whole game took about 10 minutes, I guess, before it was completed, and we don't need to see that in real time. So in summary, this is a great example of the type of quality of game that you would find in Compute Magazine in the early 80s. Good game, good graphics, good intelligence, intuitive interface. It's a fun game of checkers. Now, as the platform matured throughout the 80s, the games in Compute progressively got more and more sophisticated, and they would include arcade-style graphics and arcade-style sounds. Basically, Compute would publish software that would rival the kind of games that you could, purchase at computer stores. Things are progressing quickly here, and I've definitely got the upper hand on the computer. In a few moments, I should be able to seal my well-deserved victory. And there we go. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please consider leaving a like. If there's other content that you would like to see or game suggestions, let me know in the comments below. And if you like Commodore 64 content like this, please subscribe. Thanks and hope to see you again.